On top of the world, on top of it all, trying to feel invincible. Yeah, oh, yeah, oh, dying on top of the world.
Good evening and welcome to This Week in Sports for Thursday, November 12th, 2015. I'm Mike McClung here alongside Evan Olawani and Tyler Dobransky. So we're going to start. We're down to 3 unbeaten teams in the NFL. We've been kind of updating it each week. We're at 3 now. We got the Patriots, we got the Bengals, and we got the Panthers. What have we seen out of them?
I think the Panthers really surprised me. Last week, we ranked them, and I said that the Packers are better than the Panthers. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Panthers, they've really shown a lot. They don't quit. They score a lot of points this year, and that's, I think, the biggest thing. We know that the offense, we were unsure how they're going to do. Their offense is scoring a lot of points, and their defense is doing a great job.
I think the Panthers are winning because I think their defense is stepping up. Luke Kuechly, who was a defensive player of the year one year now, he's starting to be that again. Jonathan Stewart's being a better running back, and I think Cam Newton's becoming a really good quarterback.
Yeah, and they made a lot of believers out of a lot of people when they beat the Packers, who are obviously a very good team. And the final score ended up being a little bit closer, but they really had a big lead in that game where if Rodgers doesn't go off in the end of the third quarter in the fourth, that's really a blowout by them. So I think hats off to them. I still put the Patriots at number 1.
Yeah, no doubt.
Panthers at 2, and Bengals.
I
Bengals
think the Bengals are 2 and the Panthers are 3. Andy Dalton has the second passer rating in the league right now behind Tom Brady, but I think him, A.J. Green's doing good. Jeremy Hill, who's lacking, Giovanni Bernard's making up for it. Their defense is playing really well. I think they are better than the Panthers, in my opinion.
The Panthers just beat your Packers, though.
All right, well,
Let me ask a question.
make any
Okay,
sense.
wait, if you were just to have your own team, let's just fantasize here, okay? Would you rather have Andy Dalton or Cam Newton at your quarterback?
This year?
This year?
That's
This year.
tough.
This year.
I take
Andy
Andy
Dalton.
Dalton.
Andy Dalton?
I think so.
I don't know. I think Cam Newton's doing a lot of plays with his feet this year. He's got a lot of first downs with his feet. I think he's really helping out that offense, but not only passing but running the ball.
But Andy Dalton, I feel like, is so much smarter. He has a better IQ of the game, knows what the right passes to make. Like Cam Newton is still more of a run for it, like quick passes. He's not more of a IQ kind of quarterback.
He gets the job done. He's doing the job.
No,
I think he's doing
you're
it very
splitting
well.
hairs here with 2 very good quarterbacks, but I think I'd have to agree. Dalton's having one of the best years that we didn't expect out of anybody, and it's.
But the thing is, okay, in the playoffs, how's he going to do?
I mean, yeah, there's always the knock on the Bengals that they've lost so many playoff games in a row. That's why I'm saying the Panthers are better. The Panthers I see as more complete.
But
What do you
Tyler's,
got on?
Tyler's
He's-
sticking his hand in my face
He's
right
begging
now.
to say something. Let him
But
speak.
Cam Newton hasn't won a playoff game either, so how can you justify Andy Dalton when
Because he's lost 4 in a row.
Didn't the Panthers win a playoff game? No,
No.
no, I think they did. They
last
beat
year,
the Cardinals in the playoffs
yeah,
last year.
and then they versed
No
the
way.
Seahawks. Yes, they did. And then they versed the Seahawks and lost. So good try. We applaud you for that.
I'm sorry for that mistake.
One mistake. All right, so we're going to go on to the injuries now in the NFL. Speaking of injuries, Panthers have been depleted, but, a lot of teams are depleted. In other words, my fantasy team, we got Le'Veon Bell and Keenan Allen out. Jamal Charles a couple weeks ago.
Forte,
How have the
that's,
injuries
that's always
affected the teams and how the results on the field have been?
I think the worst team that's getting struck by injuries are the Steelers. Big Ben with that nagging injury in the leg and the ankle now. Le'Veon Bell out
honestly,
for the year.
but with the Steelers, I think their quarterback, that Big Ben, that's a huge issue. With the running back,
D'Angelo Williams.
I don't see that as a huge issue. D'Angelo Williams has picked up all the slack that Le'Veon Bell had. Yes, he maybe not be as amazing, but he's doing an amazing job. I don't think they really lost a step in the running game than the passing game.
I would argue, I'm not saying D'Angelo Williams is a better running back than Le'Veon Bell, but he's playing better this season. And a lot of that's due to the line. They're both of them, you're splitting hairs again with Le'Veon Bell obviously being very good. But D'Angelo Williams has been awesome in the 3 games now that he started. He's been just all you could have asked for and more out of that signing. Ben getting hurts, though, because Vic's hurt now. I wouldn't want him in anyway. Landry Jones has been leading this team, and he did lead them. The 2 games he entered where he didn't start, he actually led them to wins. But the 1 game where he started, he came up a little short.
Last game, Antonio Brown put that team on his back and carried them the whole way.
But that's a credit to him. Just realize Antonio Brown is so hot. Just get him the ball. That's
17
all he had to
catches.
do in that game.
245 yards.
I think wasn't it 280 or something like that?
245. I had him on my fantasy team.
I'll
So
mark his word.
Tyler knows this one. Tyler's going to get one right
I think,
for that.
honestly, one of the biggest injuries, though, it comes from the Colts, Andrew Luck.
Oh.
Because they finally win a game. They beat the Broncos. and they have momentum, and all of a sudden their number one quarterback goes down.
They've actually been playing very good the past 3 weeks. If you look at the teams they played and who they beat and how much they lost by, and then what game that they
And I
did
think
lose.
that think they had momentum, and I don't know how much that's going to hurt them. Matt Hasselbeck, so we saw him do some good things, but he's nowhere near what Luck is.
Andrew Luck hasn't had a stellar season by far at all this year, but I feel like losing him is a big blow, and I think Matt Hasselbeck cannot make up for Andrew Luck's loss, but the Colts haven't been stellar at all this year.
I think the thing with Luck is the injury is not hurting them because he's off the field. The injury is hurting them because he's trying to play through it, and he's not playing at a high level because of it. If he were smart, I mean, not that he's not smart, I shouldn't say that, but if he did the right thing, he should have just sat the first couple weeks, got fully healthy, and then come back and been the Andrew Luck that we know and love that can really just tear up defenses, and he didn't do that, and now we're, getting into week 9, 10, and he's still not 100%. It's costing the team.
I agree with that.
I agree with that too. And now Jamal Charles, I think that team is already bound for just a bad season. I don't think, even with him in, he would have helped them win any much.
Wait a minute. I don't know, because this happened a couple weeks ago, and I don't think they've lost since. They've been very good. Sharkandrick West
That's what I'm
has
saying.
been awesome.
I still don't think that they're going to have a shot at making the playoffs.
I mean,
though.
they've won a couple games in a row. It's going to be tough to make the playoffs because they're chasing so many teams. There's really not, out of the wild card anyway, there's not like a couple teams that are running away with it, but there's so many teams that they're going to have to jump, so that's going to be the difficult part of it. But they're playing good football right now.
I think Sharkandrick West, like you said, has been
He's
doing...
like the D'Angelo Williams
Yeah,
almost of the
he's been
Steelers.
doing an okay job. No Jamal Charles by far, but I think Alex Smith as a quarterback hasn't been doing that well. Jeremy Maclin, who was a big signing in the
He's been out a
offseason,
lot with the concussion and everything.
He's been injured too, so I don't think their offense can lead them to wins and to get them to the playoffs.
And I think the Bears also, I agree with that. I think the Bears have been playing well. They have Forte go down, but Langford comes in and does a great job. I was really happy with that.
Yeah, and it stinks for them because they had Jeffrey out the first 6 or 7 games, and they finally get him back, and now they lose their star running back. But Langford has done good for one game. You never know. It might not continue. It was one game against a bad run defense. He's playing a little bit of tougher matchup this week, but if he can keep it going, that's a huge bonus to them.
Yeah, I think running backs all over have been getting hurt, and I think we're seeing a lot of backup running backs step up and become useful for their offenses.
There's always like one a year that's always steps up and does great. This year, I think there's more than one. I think there's just a decent
4 or
amount.
5.
So do we want to touch on Keenan Allen or Dion Lewis or any of them? Or
I think Keenan Allen was a big loss for the...
I think Deion Lewis was a huge loss. I think their offense really, not that it went through them, but he did so much out of the screen passing game. I think that, let's be honest, anyone on the Patriots, I think anyone can step up and do good, but he had a lot of good cuts and a lot of misses. I think that's going to hurt him a tiny bit.
I agree. I think that loss is more important than Keenan Allen because the Chargers were a bad team to begin with. They're just a worse team now. I mean, Dion
And now
Lewis,
that Malcolm
the
Floyd
Patriots.
out, he's
I
out.
think he's going to play actually through it, but it doesn't really matter. He's not Keenan Allen, and Keenan Allen's been having a great season. Dion Lewis compared to James White, who's going to be the new receiving back out of the backfield, that's a big hit for them, and they're a good team. They're obviously 8-0. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to win their division for however many years in a row it is now. And come playoff time, that could be the difference in a game. That's going to hurt them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I
yeah.
agree.
All right, so Evan decided that since we're halfway through the year, we're going to do the Twis Awards for the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know what that is. Do you want to just touch on what you had in mind for
yeah,
this?
I wanna talk about midseason who stood out to you. Like best quarterback, Tom Brady. Best punter, Donnie Jones of the Eagles. That's all. What do you guys think? Like anyone stood out to you this far? Who wins your award?
For what?
Surprising running back, Devonta
All right,
Freeman.
all right.
Devonta Freeman, yep.
He was supposed to be a backup behind Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman gets a concussion week 1, comes in, had like 400-yard games in a year, leading all running backs in yards, touchdowns. He's in the top 5. I think he's my big surprising running back.
And he's such a huge receiving threat out of the backfield. That's so important for them. And you're absolutely right. He's been the best running back in the league.
Comeback player of the year, Adrian Peterson. I think he's first right now with rushing yards in the NFL. I think that's huge, and I think I'm really happy for him.
What about Tyler Eifert from the Bengals leading the league in touchdowns? He's no Gronk, obviously, but...
Oh, but he's pretty
What
close
about
right
Gary
now.
Barnage? We got 2 of them kind of competing up there. He came out of nowhere.
See, this is what I had in mind.
But you didn't. You should have went into it and thought of the topics beforehand.
Hey, regardless, we're doing a great
We're
job
doing
right
good.
now.
Okay, yeah, Gary Barnage, Tyler Eifert, both. Gronk is still doing great. There's now like more tight ends competing for the best tight end in the league, and now we're seeing there's not 1 or 2 like Jimmy Graham and Rob Gronkowski anymore. There's like 6 or 7 quality tight ends in the league now.
I would agree with that.
And me too. And I think Tyler Eifert has done an amazing job, especially just with the Bengals, with A.J. Green. He's really stepped up, just a great red zone threat, and I think he's making a huge impact with the Bengals.
We do this for a team too.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the Raiders right
I
now,
was
and
about
I'm
to say
so
the same
impressed.
thing.
When you think of the Raiders, you think of 2, 3, like 4 wins for a season. They've got, I think they're 4-5 right now, or 4-4 even maybe. They've been really impressive. That offense especially has really impressed me.
Speaking of the Raiders, what about Charles Woodson? 4 interceptions. He's
2 on Manning, too.
2 on Manning.
Which this year doesn't mean as much.
But,
yeah,
but still, that's
No,
still.
I would agree. Yeah, you're right.
joined the 60 interception club. I think he's having a great season, even though of his age doesn't really matter. And I think the Raiders, I think in the upcoming years, Derek Carr will.
He's been doing really good lately. I think he's leading that team. My big team, the Vikings, are 6-2. I don't think anyone's ever really looked at that.
Tied with the Packers.
But they're 6-2, tied with the Packers. I think that's a little crazy, but I'm great, happy for them. Peterson's been doing great. Bridgewater, he's having like a breakout year. Had a concussion. I'm not too sure if he's going to play this week, but I think if he plays, and I think they will keep winning, and I really hope the Vikings make the playoffs.
Best Twis idea star category goes to Evan Olawani for Twis ideas. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anyway, we're on to the NBA. So far, the Warriors have been great. The Sixers have been bad. We got an undefeated team. We got a winless team. This isn't in there, but I'm just thinking, what streak do you think is going to end first? Sixers going to get their first win, or Warriors going to get their first loss?
I think the first streak to end is Sixers are going to get their first win because the Warriors beat the Grizzlies by 50, beat them last night by I think it was 12 or something. They're dominating the league. Steph Curry is unstoppable. Did you see his 3 last night? He threw it behind his head.
He was getting
It
fouled,
goes
so he
in.
just chucked it up, and of course it went in.
He hit a half-court buzzer beater. He's unstoppable, and he's leading the Warriors to the Bulls in 95-96 when they had 72 wins. That's how I feel they're going in.
Wow. Okay. All right.
I mean, how many wins did they have last year? I mean, very close to
They
that.
they were like 65 and
65.
like
I think that, I mean, I wouldn't say that far, as you said, but they've been doing great. And Steph Curry, even Klay Thompson, he's having a little bit of a slow year, but he's still right there with him. Their defense has been very good, which I think is a little overlooked. And I think they're playing really good. And 76ers, I like them. They're a young team. Okafor has been doing really good. They just can't find a way to just finish the games.
Yeah, and like you said, their defense might get overlooked sometimes. I don't know. Their defense was one of the best in the league last year. I don't know if it goes that much overlooked, maybe just because their offense is so good. They're the defending champs. They're 8-0 or 9-0 now, maybe even to start the season. I'm not going to pick against them. You know, the Sixers, maybe they'll figure it out eventually. Maybe not, but I'm definitely not going to say the Warriors are going to go lose this game or this game because right now they're the best team in the league. They got a knock because they beat the Cavs at half strength. They're just beating who's in front of them, and if they can continue to do that, which I think they're going to because that's what they've been doing, they're going to be in great shape going forward for the playoffs again, be in another prime position to win a championship, and I'm not going to pick against them.
Yeah, the Cavs, they lost their first game, but now they won 7 in a row. I think they're starting to click again. J.R. Smith has come back. He's playing better. LeBron James is really taking this team. I think they're going to do very good, like they do every year. Whoever team LeBron James is on, I mean, they're going to do good.
So how about the Knicks? They're 4-5,
Kristaps-
which is pretty good.
how about
I just
Kristaps
ordered-
Porzingis?
I just ordered his jersey. Just throw it out
when
there.
he got drafted, the whole Radio City Music Hall got
Booed. Very, very.
Is that a
Very
serious
bad.
thing about the jersey? Did you actually order
I
the jersey?
did order that jersey.
All right.
well,
$16. Good
when
deal.
he got drafted, all the Knicks fans were like, why? He's making them all regret saying why because he's averaging like 16 points a game. Putting it back, he hit that clutch 3 that got called off.
It was
but
like a 0.1 second for the win, but
But they lost.
to them.
Yep. Yeah, but no, I'd have to agree. He's been really good, and then if that's 0.1 seconds earlier, he's a hero in New York, and everybody loves him. So, I
Yeah.
mean, they kind of like him now because he's just been playing so well.
Do you think he is contending to be a Rookie of the Year candidate?
Oh, definitely. I think Okafor has got to step on him. No.
What about Karl Towns averaging a double-double?
He's a big body, and I think he's proven a lot to that team, and he's using his size to advantage.
It's so early, though, because I don't think you could even talk about Rookie of the Year until later in the season just because rookies don't really play that much right away, and they start to get more minutes as they grow and develop and play later into the year. Right now, yeah, he's been one of the best. There's been a couple standouts, but you can't really judge the whole class until you really look at a full year when everybody's really starting to get their minutes and play to their full potential.
I would agree.
I agree.
All right, so we're going to go on to college football now. Alabama jumps over Ohio State, moves to number 2 after their win at LSU. What do you think about that? They were at home at LSU. Excuse me.
My biggest shocker is LSU would drop down from 2 all the way to 9. I thought that was they versed the number 4 team and they dropped down how many spots? 7 spots. I think that's a little berserk.
I agree. I think might have it because the way they played, they really didn't look good in that game. And Leonard Fournette only had like 30 rush yards, which is something you just don't see out of him. And it's crazy. But yeah, they've got one loss on their schedule. They've got a lot of impressive wins, and their only loss is to the number 2 team. I don't know if I see them at 9. I mean, they're still a very, very good team. But there's a lot of teams that have no losses yet that I guess you just have to give the edge to just because they have no losses. And I don't know. We talked about it last week with the committee. They're going to put one-loss teams ahead of no-loss teams. But you got to figure if those teams win out, they're going to be ahead of LSU with one loss. So I guess it's a lot of it comes to conferences. We say this every single week. But right now, it's kind of tough to rank them.
I'm really happy that Notre Dame got the 4th spot. I'm ecstatic about that. And if they can win out, they're basically almost guaranteed. They've a pretty easy schedule except Stanford's the only one in their way. I think if they win out, they can't really – if a team wins out, I don't see how another team could be over Notre Dame right now. So if they win out, beat Stanford, I think they'll be in the playoffs.
I just want to go back to Alabama real quick. Last week, like Evan, I made a mistake. I said Alabama was overhyped by the committee and how they were not deserving, but they shocked me. I thought LSU was going to thrash them. I thought Fournette was going to go off. I thought all this stuff, and none of that happened. So Alabama, I'm aboard them. I feel like they're pretty good.
Since we're all pointing out our mistakes, I'd like to point out that I don't make any, and I picked Clemson 2 weeks ago, and they're still number 1, and they're going to win the national championship, and I'm completely sticking with it.
We're so proud of you.
Do you want to put in your teams, or is it even worth it? Because I'm just going to win.
Notre Dame, they're going to win it all. That's it.
You know what? I said TCU, but I'm not even going to talk
about
that.
Time out. I was going to end the show, but now Tyler just jumping all over the place. He picks Baylor before their quarterback he picked TCU before Baylor's quarterback gets hurt. Baylor's quarterback gets hurt. Then he picks Baylor. Now he's back on TCU. What are you doing right now?
Just pick a good team. Pick a team that's in the
top. Pick Alabama. Just pick somebody.
You know what? All right, this is my final pick. Locking in. You viewers can all put my word to it. My team will be Alabama. They're going to win the national championship.
That's not ridiculous, though. It's not like Alabama loses their quarterback and you're like, okay, now they're going to win.
Okay.
Just wait for next week when they lose their quarterback.
They're probably going to lose their quarterback, and Tyler's going to pick them. That's going to wrap it up for this week in sports. For Evan Olawani and Tyler Dobransky, I'm Mike McClung. Have a fantastic day.